Ko Lisa Te Heuheu, tōku ingoa.
No pressure e hoa. No pressure at all.
And some of our whānau, even from Rarotonga, we're like, I've just never seen so much fresh water.
How does knowledge exchange happen now?
And we're continuously trying to find places to be that organic, authentic self of being Indigenous. So we're not talking about mystical people here. These are nieces and nephews.
Yep.
Let's be real.
Katia ke te whānau, no mai, haere mai ki tō tātou punua pāpāho tuatahi. This is our first On Kaupapa podcast for today, for this year. So we're really excited. No pressure e hoa. No pressure at all. He wea anō, he hia nō ku te mihi ki a koe. Mō i haere mai, tūhono mai, ki a Tuwharetoa On. And I know we're going to be on point today with our kōrero. So really excited to hear the mahi that you've been doing with our whānau from Te Moana nui a Kiwa, and the journey you guys have been on. He wea anō, some of our whānau may know who you are and the mahi that you do. Other whānau may not. So please introduce yourself ki te whānau mātakitaki anau whakarongo ana i tēnei wā.
Wa kia ora kia koe. Ko Lisa Te Heuheu, tōku ingoa no ngā pohi Ngāti Raukawa me Wakatoa hau. I've got 20 years working in the taiao, from everything from working for different iwi through to the Crown, to industry. Recently been the Chief Executive of Te Moana, and left that to spend time with my beautiful baby, Te Ahi Pūmamao, but have been living in Tuwharetoa rohe, I think since I was about 8. So both my sets of grandparents moved to Tūrangi. My parents met each other here, so born and bred in Tūrangi. This is my home away from home. Through our raukawa whakapapa, we do whakapapa to Tuwharetoa, it's just a little bit. But of course, through my husband, Te Rangi Mahio, we have just a long-standing whanaungatanga with this rohe and love being here.
And we love having you here. Please don't go anywhere else.
Kia ora, yes. I don't think you fellas would let me.
No. You are here forever. You are part of the furniture now. Well, no, we're here to talk about, a whole heap of things, but we're here to talk about taiatea. First of all, what is taiatea? Who is taiatea? What is the purpose?
So taiatea is a kaupapa that is actually driven by Ngāti Kuri in the far north. So pre-COVID, with all of the mahi that they'd been doing around rangitahua, te rerenga wairua and protecting their coastline and having mana motuhake and rangatiratanga over their coastline, they were actually going out to Te Moana nui a Kiwa to learn and to knowledge exchange with others, and they felt it was time for them to host. So taiatea was the very first gathering, so it is a gathering of ocean voices. And from taiatea, it platformed into a funding program and project, which I've been working with Ngāti Kuri on since 2020, end of 2023, but mostly last year. And so our Puna Ora project is about knowledge exchange, but harnessing tikanga and our cultural methods in protecting the ocean and trying to re-establish our own cultural practice. And so through the Puna Ora funding that we got and the mahi that we're doing in that, we said, how about we hold another taiatea? So we've been lucky enough as Tuwharetoa to have been invited to host those whānau from Te Moana nui a Kiwa and from Australia and from Canada. And so we've had the privilege to not only have been in the north with our travelling whānau, but to host them here. So they've been here since Ruia Taitia. They're just overwhelmed, and we're amazed at how beautiful Ruia Taitia was. They've been in Aotearoa, been to Pukawa and through to the Maunga. And so these next 2 days, a little bit of a rest day, but back to mahi a pōpō and Pākira. So that will be their last day with us. So taiatea is really a knowledge exchange for our whānau to learn amongst each other, but what does it look like to elevate our kaupapa and elevate our issues? And I think Sheridan is really front thinking in terms of her mahi with Ngāti Kuri, but the most powerful part of it is we've all got things to share. And as much as we're working on kaupapa in our own rohe, that knowledge exchange has already resulted in, hey, look, we've got practices in whaia, we've got practices in maunga. Can we share those with you? So it's one of those things you say yes to, and you go, I don't even know what will become of it, but here I know we're here and we're figuring things out. But it's beautiful.
I want to say this. Nā mātou te honore, no tātou te honore, is Ngāti Tuwharetoa to be invited to be part of the hosting rōpu for this kaupapa. And a lot of people may be thinking, no Tuwharetoa, inland iwi, what do we have to offer to this wānanga and to this conversation? Well, no, we both know Te Moana is the headwaters for a lot of the North Island, and the saying goes, te kōpua awarau, o te manawa o te ika Māui. So a lot of the life force for the North Island comes from here, which I believe is so important in this theme, in this kaupapa. But in terms of the haerenga coming into Tuwharetoa, what do you think are the main kaupapa and the main things that we need to exchange, especially being here, and I guess some of the kōrero and mātauranga that's based here, that we can share externally and then receive mātauranga internally into our rohe?
So there's lots of different kaupapa. I guess the first part is my role in Taiatia and the mahi with Ngāti Kuri is I'm a project research lead. So my job has been to go out to Te Moana nui a Kiwa, have interviews, and I've put together case studies. And so we've highlighted all some of really those key kaupapa that have come from each area. And so I have the privilege of seeing a lot. And coming here, what's highlighted to us is that there's not a lot of freshwater in Te Moana nui a Kiwa. And so our relationship with wai is really valued, and I don't think we probably value it enough on a world stage, that kōrero of how important our wai is to practice, to sustenance, to hauora. That's ingrained in who Tuwharetoa is. But we had a kōrero yesterday, and some of our whānau, even from Rarotonga, were like, I've just never seen so much fresh water. Fresh water that sits and fresh water that flows. And it was beautiful to hear Uncle Napa and Haki's kōrero yesterday, both at Pukawa and Opotaka, around that headwater kōrero. And we're very aware that there is a maunga, there is a kiota ki tai kōrero that exists with all of our Indigenous whānau, and they all have their version of maunga, but those maunga are the puna for all of those sources of wai that come. And so I think some of the cultural exchanges that we have that are unique to Tuwharetoa is our relationship with maunga in a very alpine sense of what are the taonga that are on our maunga, what are the kōrero that have come from maunga, the rumblings that happen with maunga, our kōrero, our waiata, our karakia, that are all maunga based and wai-based kōrero. Because if you look to our Te Moana nui a Kiwa whānau, all of their kōrero is moana-based. And so just that contrast and being able to elevate our kaupapa in a different way. But what we've been finding too is often we're utilising structures that are not of our making to set a scene, but actually they were what they needed to be at the time. The maunga And in Ngāti Kuri's sense, we're trying to figure out what that mana motu hake element is now. So do those structures still serve us, and do they bring meaning and mauri to the maunga or mauri to the wai? And if they don't, what's our response to that? And do we need to be in this place differently to help have that here for our mokopuna? So there's just some real big ideas. Sometimes you go, I don't know, my brain's tired.
Well, I was feeling a little bit that way this morning. I was like, oh, this is straight after we get like that. Are my brain cells working this morning? Did a bit of a check-in, and they're working. Yeah. And first of all, I'm like, wow, from this kōrero, there is a lot of pride that grows within oneself, especially if you're from here, you're Tuwharetoa, and you hear this kōrero. And you're right, you know, we get so used to, and that's when the noa term comes into my mind, because we've become, I can't speak for all, probably for myself, I've become quite noa about the luxury that we have around wai Māori, the abundance of it here, because you're right, it's just so normal. It is every day, you know, you go for a drive from Turangi to Taupo, especially when I'm doing a kohanga pick up or drop off, and you just see wai Māori everywhere, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, just another day here in Tuwharetoa. However, when you put it into context like that, you know, it does remind us, yes, we are lucky, we are very lucky, and it's not luck, it's actually tipuna knowledge, and ngā toroirangi in particular, being deliberate about coming here, to the elevated whenua, to the headwaters, to Tongariro, where a lot of geothermal activity is, and ruaumoko, and that also pulls up all the fresh water. And it's all in our kōrero tuku iho. So thank you for reminding us. And that's why the exchange of knowledge between all of us is important, because sometimes those who've been sitting in it for a long time just become quite comfortable,
Yeah, and I think being at the maunga yesterday and Miriama doing the whakapapa kōrero from Ngā Toroirangi, like 25 generations of kōrero and whakapapa to the whenua and to wai and to maunga. We need to instill that memory and be intentional about the way we move on whenua and wai, to take that kōrero with us. And it's just a constant reminder to me that it's not by accident that we do this mahi. Our tipuna have put us here for a reason, and sometimes we need those. Sometimes they're not gentle, the reminders. Yep. But we do need reminders that we have an inherent obligation and a responsibility to do things in the way they were intended by our tupuna. So I say it's at times a burden, but actually, why else would you do it? Yeah, so, you know, kind of it builds that fire in you to do this mahi, I think, 20 years on, and I can honestly say that I would not be away from the taiao.
Kia ora.
This is, and my baby, I'm kind of instilling that in him already, and he is reminding me how much love there is in the whenua.
I think of that saying, he ika no tōna wai, you know, you are a fish from the waters that you swim in. So if the water is well, the ika will be well.
Yeah.
However, if the water is not well, then the ika will not be well either. And, you know, we do need to be mindful of that. I'm thinking of one of the points that you made earlier around knowledge sharing. We do that differently, as iwi take, as Te Moana nui a Kiwa. In your experience, how does this happen in our context, especially in the year 2026? Because we have our indigenous knowledge base of tuku ihotanga that happens naturally, but we've also had influences from outside of that paradigm. How does knowledge exchange happen now with all these ingredients, if you like?
Oh, you know what? And we're reflecting on this about how do you maintain that authenticity and organic nature of what it is to be Indigenous. Because often we're forced into rooms in a facilitated workshop with big post-it paper and kia ora whānau, does your knowledge fit in this box?
Kia ora.
And so I think for Sheridan and I, it was how do you create space so that you don't lose that, because as much as we think about ourselves as Māori, we're quite upfront and we are quite happy to have a kōrero. Across Te Moana nui a Kiwa, it's not the same.
Wow.
So they can be incredibly ngāwari, so much humble and humility that is in their nature to not come forward. You actually have to create space differently for them to interact. And I think what I love about, and I know that they do, what I love about marae is the ability to welcome people into your space and hakari, remove that tapu, and to be able to just sit, like legs on the floor with mattresses around and kōrero into the night. And for me, that's what knowledge exchange is. These forced spaces, they don't work. And even when you think about places like the UN, where we tend to find, we tend to find our whānau there. We go there and we're like, oh, you've got the same kōrero as us, but the structure doesn't serve us. And we're continuously trying to find places to be that organic, authentic self of being Indigenous. Being mindful that you can open space and just be.
Yeah. And
what we're finding in Taiatea is that we've had an incredibly intense program. Like, I'm sure they're sick of being in a van, but there is wānanga that happens in vans.
Kia ora.
It does happen. Is that today all we're doing is sitting around and having a kōrero. We've got a room, got a pool for the kids, a room for the kids to play and make sure that they're taken care of, because it's all about mokopuna first. And then we can just sit around and wānanga. Our pakeke are tired, so our ones that have come over. So remembering that even though we may have energy to go into the night, they're like, I'm a bit tired, I'm going to check out now. So always just thinking about your own whānau and how you would do that at home. I actually think we've forgotten that.
Yeah.
Let's have an AGM in a room and talk at the people and not with the people. Putting us in boxes, putting us in hotels. What happened to open space and just kōrero? And everything is on a schedule. So, when we think about the maramataka, today and yesterday are the perfect days for wānanga. We aren't doing that enough as well. So I think we're trying to put all these blocks
It's
together.
unnatural, eh?
Yeah. Put all the blocks together and go, actually, we're just going to sit today. The planners and the organisers in our whānau, and we know who those are, the OCDs that want everything at 9, 10. To break structure can be quite tough, but I think we need it because it's a reminder.
Kia ora. It is. And in this climate, we really need to hone in on our stuff, because that's the balance.
Yeah.
Or the tipping of the scales, if you like. So, kei te marama, I absolutely agree with that. And when it comes to fostering leaders of te taiao, because I see te ahi naturally goes that way. What are some of the things that are being put in place to foster more leaders from different spaces in taiao leadership?
Yeah. For those of us that have been in it for a long time, there was a point in time in taiao that you'd look behind you and there was just a black hole. There was nobody there. And the ones that had put us there were no longer here. So you find yourself in this position where, we have to do it. When did this happen? But it has to be intentional.
Kia ora.
And you have to be prepared to let go. And I think there's the taiao space is no different to any other space that our whānau work in. It has egos and it has people that are there for positions, but the ones that are on kaupapa, they're tired. You know, that they've been doing it for a long time. And our iwi takitaki that have come, they have been in it as long as we have and longer. Papa So Kahalohalo from Kauai and Molokai, he's still on the UN driving mahi for no seabed mining around Hawaii. And he would be in his 70s now. And so we wanted to be intentional with this mahi, particularly with taiatea, that we built a rangatahi stream. And so taking Ngāti Kuri's lead, Sheridan's, so we're not talking about mystical people here. These are nieces and nephews. Yep. Let's be real. Like, we're not going, oh, can we get the consultants to come in? And no, right, this is like Kazi over there and whānau over there. So Ngāti Kuri, we're very intentional around, okay, we're going to build it up for our nieces and nephews. And so they established 4th gen in Ngāti Kuri, and that's their complete rangatahi stream. And so those that were coming for taiatea had to bring a rangatahi with them.
Nice.
And so our ones from Niue, Janam and Shiloh, they're under Brendan and Coral Pasisi, who are driving the big ocean mahi there. And then from Hawaii, we have Kamana'o, Morton. Yes, he is Tuwharetoa as well, but his mum is Aulani Wilhelm, and she's the chief executive for Neatiro, but also was the main driver for Papahanau Mokua Kia, so we're the largest ocean sanctuary in Hawaii. So Kamana'o is here in his mother's footsteps.
Wow.
And then for Tuwharetoa, we have Ngā Taikura o Te Taiao o Tuwharetoa. So we have our rōpū here that are doing their mahi with Wahine. We've got Taina and Natalia. We're the ones that we're free to do the mahi all the way through. So it takes intention and it takes letting go. So I've just been open with them and gone, well, here's the kaupapa. What do you want to do? And they're like, really?
Yeah.
This is awesome. But I think what comes from that is when they find their family in the taiao space. So this connection with taiatea has helped building a rangatahi space, which is not just about doing the taiao, but actually they can moan about what it's like to be rangatahi too, because there are struggles that are real for our rangatahi in being able to open doors and walk pathways. So for me, I recognise my role as I'm a door opener. I open the door.
That's a really important role, the door openers. Yeah.
I just kind of, I have to wiggle a few keys around, like maybe try 10 or 12.
Any doors that need a kicking down?
Oh, there's plenty of those.
I'm sure.
But I think if you're prepared to let go, our whānau are there. And I think sometimes we have perceptions, or we kind of make up these ideas that we're the only ones that can do the work. Our people are waiting and they're hungry. So I'm excited by that. The day where I get to just kind of see our rangatahi flourish. But I think even more so, how do we start, when I think about baby, how do we start to plant the seed even earlier?
Yep.
And so part of our mahi and my t-shirt, Mātai Tahirei.
I love it, by the way.
Just going to plug
Did you bring a 3XL size by any chance?
Yeah, actually we do have lots of t-shirts, but this is about trying to build a database of biodiversity that our mokopuna can start to understand. So in March, we're going to be putting through all of our kura kaupapa and our kohanga through our first Mātai Tahirei, which is getting them to understand all of their invertebrates and plants and things all around the maunga, which is pretty cool.
Okay, watch this space. I think we will have another kōrero for this kaupapa.
And that's in partnership with Auckland Museum.
Wow.
And we only wanted to do it for the kids, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that will value the maunga or value everything around the taiao. and they'll have a different relationship. So the thinking has to be long. So as much as I'd like to say, you know, the work of today is kind of fulfilling a whole bunch of buckets, actually the first steps have got that long game in mind. So a generation or 2 generations from now, have we done the work today to make that successful? And you've got to be thinking that way.
Kia ora. It might be early days, but I'm going to be cheeky and ask it anyway, because it's still, the wānanga is still happening. You have such a diverse knowledge base that's here and now, or right now. Have you got some examples of tikanga and mātauranga just from the last couple of days that's elevated a process or a way of being to look after our taiao? And I'm going to be even more cheeky and say in the Tuwharetoa context. Have you seen and heard kōrero from some of our whanaunga that might be able to help us? Especially, you know, we've had fires. A lot of them, even our college, Tauponuiatia, another fire, and I'm thinking a lot of fire happening around us. He tohu pea. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, oh, okay.
Yes, it does feel early to say that, but yes. So we have whānau that have come over from the Girigan Nation, which is north of Townsville in Australia, our Aboriginal whānau, and within their traditional practice is fire. And so they still practice their cultural burnings as part of a way, one, to look after the whenua, but actually to reinvigorate new life and to create further habitat for all of the species that are really precious to them. And so they have actually been teaching Ngāti Kuri how to revive their fire practice. And it's been just an amazing process for me to watch. So when I went up to Ngāti Kuri in December, because we had some case study work to do, the Girigan were actually there doing fire practice. And these are with their whānau. So they've got certified fire safety officers that, you know, they can actually handle fire. But they had done all of the process to manage that entire burn themselves. And so bringing them here, and they saw Manga Te Pōpō yesterday, and they went, sister, we have knowledge to share with your people about fire. The thing that really warmed my heart when having a kōrero to them was, one, their generosity in being able to share that practice, but two, they're like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of fire. It is in the ancestors for us, you know, for us to have fire as Indigenous people. Just need to learn how to harness it. So it was really lovely. Like, I think when we thought about what had happened in the fires, it was, a lot of it was out of our hands. But it made me think about how beautiful would it be to reinvigorate that practice back here in Tuwharetoa. To, one, remind ourselves about fire, but also upskill ourselves.
Kia ora. Yeah.
Yeah. And have our own rangatiratanga over our whenua in terms of that fire practice. That was probably one. And the other one would be Papa Sol, Kahalohalo. He gave a beautiful hononga as a closing comment yesterday. And he said, you know, I just felt I had to kōrero. I've just spoken to my daughter, and she is at the foothills of Mauna Kea, and we're burying one of our navigators today. And he just said, we have a hononga, or in his words, I don't know what it is in Hawaiian, but we have a hononga around maunga and around fire. Can we keep having this conversation? And so they're wanting to share traditional practice around maunga and reigniting that ring of fire kōrero that exists within the whakapapa of Ngā Toroirangi and that calling of fire to Tongariro. There is just these amazing practices that are starting to come to light. But I think the big one for me is it is just the start.
Kia ora.
We've already got 2 offers.
Yeah. And as we said, early days. This is,
Early,
it might be
really
jumping the gun a
early.
little bit here, but hey.
Look, and I just think the binding thing is taiao. It is the taiao, and it's not about people, so to speak. Yes, we are here to be in service to the taiao and we make things happen, but actually the thing that's bringing us together is the mahi and the whenua and the mahi and the moana. I think we've got lots more to learn, and actually others have a lot to learn from us that I don't think we value enough.
Kia ora.
So yeah, early days.
Well, there you go with Te Whānau. Heard it here first.
Yeah.
I want to say this. It's in our kōrero, whakapapa ne. We have mahuika, we have hine tāpeka, we have Ngā Toroirangi, Kiwa, haungaroa. It's all in our stories. And it comes down to your whakapono, eh? Because it's all there, but it needs to be grounded rather than being something that's quite far back, that's just kind of there. And when you hear our whanaunga from across Te Moana nui a Kiwa, bringing this kōrero to us and grounding it as something that you can hold to in practice, then it puts a lot of whakapono back into you of actually, we do have this mātauranga, but it needs to be a living thing.
Yes.
It needs to be a living, practicing thing rather than something that you talk about or reference. It needs to be a living thing. And I love that this is creating that opportunity to put it into practice. Yeah,
and I've been really privileged to hear lots of kōrero from our whānau, and a lot of them just saying we just need to stop asking for permission. That is your whenua, that is your moana, and at times stop asking permission of ourselves. At times we can be the worst ones to hold ourselves back, but action is power. Just do. And that's what we're kind of learning being around our other whānau. You just need to do. Like you say, I think sometimes we think about our kōrero as it's been mythical and not been relevant, but actually it helps form the lens of which we do our mahi. And how do we become the heroes that our mokopuna will look to in their time? Because I think we're going so far back, but actually we've got some Maui tiki a taranga now that should be revered for all the mahi that they're doing, and being curious and being adventurous and learning and being global. It's an exciting time to be in the taiao space. We can feel it. Like
I absolutely agree.
Feel it.
And like little things, but big things. Ngā tohu wairua, like I think of my daughter, she's got so much fire in her. And even her middle name is Tāpeka, Hine Tāpeka. I was like, Mama and Papa, what were you thinking?
Hey,
no.
Look, I've had the same I've had the same kōrero, te ahi pū mama. What
That's
were
right.
we thinking?
No, but we need it, eh? We need it in this time, right here, right now. And I think we're responding to that, te karanga, that kōrero. Well, it's been a beautiful kōrero. It's been a amazing first On Kaupapa podcast. But we're going to start wrapping it up. Any last kōrero for our whānau that's listening and watching our first On Kaupapa podcast?
I think it's like for me, for our whānau out there is be courageous, be curious, and really kind of take on that mantra of we are the whenua and we are the moana. There is just so much beautiful mahi to be done, that politics has no place in our taiao. And so if we can all mahi together and be collective, I just don't think we'll know ourselves in a generation. So kia ora.
Mihi nui ana kia Lisa. Tana haere mai, tō haere mai, ki tēnei whare o tātou. And bringing this kaupapa to our shores of Lake Taupo and to our maunga of Tongariro, e ko te mihi o te ngākau ki a koe. That's our first podcast for Tuwharetoa on Kaupapa, and today definitely on point. E mihi ana kia tātou.